Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Going to Ground. How good to be underway again with a new season of films. And I just decided yesterday to start again while I was out in the snow. It seemed like the perfect opportunity. And thanks for the nice comments about getting back into these daily reflections. It's such a joy for me. It's such an encouragement to have that contact. And today is special for me because it's the second anniversary of my consecration as a bishop. So 2 years ago, exactly on the 25th of January, I was ordained in Southwark Cathedral. Really important place for me and our family because my dad was ordained priest there in 1960. And it was a profound experience. I've dug out, well actually I didn't dig it out because I have it on my desk, the order of service for that day. And sadly my colleagues of course have been made bishop in the last year. None of them have been able to have a big service, a proper service of ordination. It's been a very private and distanced affair, which is a great sadness. But I keep it up on my desk actually so that I can see regularly the promises that I took and the commission that was made. As you might imagine, it was a profound experience, and a bit like when, if you've been married, you might remember in the ceremony that sense of being at the centre of something swirling around you, which seems much bigger, and you're almost outside it. You're right at the centre of it, and you feel it happening to you. And I think the most profound part of the service was at the ordination of a bishop, all the other bishops present gather round you once you've made your promises, and they put their hands on you as a kind of commissioning. And if they can't reach you, they put their hand on the shoulder or the back of the person in front of them. And you get this kind of huge human shield of people all leaning over. And if you get a picture of it, as we did from above, it's quite something to see. It's like sort of formation swimming, you know. There's this sort of star shape of bishops, and they're all wearing red robes at a consecration. So there's just this mass of, this knot of red. And whether through the sense of human contact underneath all of that, like in a rugby scrum, I was underneath, or from the sense, just the sheer sense of presence and of God and of history and tradition, all of that. I found that the most remarkable experience. And it felt like a time machine. That's the only way I can describe it. It was like I was being funneled back in time to the days of the first apostles. It was the most extraordinary sensation. Because, of course, ever since St. Peter, the Apostle Peter, bishops have had that same ordination commission with the hands being laid upon the next successors, and that's why the church is called the Apostolic Church, because it's been literally, the apostles are the ones who are sent, are commissioned, and since the time of Christ, from St. Peter onwards, that's the way it's been passed on. So it's like this human chain throughout the ages, this link of hands across those 2,000 years. And I kind of felt it. I just felt that, both the huge privilege of that, but at that moment I just felt, as I say, taken back. It was like being taken back in a time machine, back to that time, and then whisked forward again into the present. It was extraordinary. But of course, that the same is true for all of us in other ways. Of course, that just as a baby is cradled and held as soon as they come into the world, we have hands laid upon us from the beginning, and we're sort of passed on to the next, to do our bit in the world. And so each of us actually has that same, we're all apostles sent into the world, passed on, and what we get passed down to us varies, of course, good and bad. As you probably know, the word for tradition in Greek, in the Bible, paradosis, is that which is handed down. And so each of us, it has hands laid on us by those who came before, as if in commissioning and blessing. And the question, of course, then, is what is our role in the link, given that we are a link in that human chain of hands. You remember on the old 50p's when we joined the European Union, if you're old enough to remember those, the chain of hands went round the outside, that sort of image of that. What is our link in that? And what do we pass on? Whatever our role, whether in the church, whether you're a believer or not, what are we going to pass on? What was handed down to us, and what do we hand on to the world, insofar as we have influence, and each of us does. So that's the challenge to us this evening, and to value that which is handed down to us, and recognise that each of us is in that time machine. And there's something deeply supportive about that, knowing that we were carried into the world, and we know that we'll be carried out of it. We are upheld through this life, and then we have to decide what we do with what has been handed on. Very good to be with you, and I look forward to tomorrow and future reflections. God bless you as you go to ground.